In this episode of MPTV, we are down in Destin, Florida at Fudpuckers. And yes, live alligators, be careful. We sat down and talked to the owner, Chester, about this amazing concept, about how they've leveraged items like this in their gift shop, how they've leveraged apparel, shirts, a lot of great items, the location of the restaurant and how it played a huge part in this one being successful and one down the street not so much. But more importantly, we're going to talk about food and your people. Follow me. Hey, what's up? It's Matt, and we are back with another episode of MPTV. This time, we are in sunny Florida, and we are here with Chester of Fudpuckers.
Nice to see you. Good to meet you.
Nice to meet you. And I always tell everybody about the episodes, what MPTV is about. Yes, MP, my initials, not the fist bump, but it's Matt Platt. But it's also about making profit, because in the restaurant business, profit is elusive. And you came to mind because whenever we travel, there's places you remember in certain cities. And there's also places you don't remember, like the Mexican restaurant I ate at last night. Amazing food, amazing service. I couldn't tell you the name today. Yeah. My daughter, from this picture, and we'll show it on the screen bigger, 2013, so 7 years ago, on the way down here, the first thing she said was, "We're going to Fudpuckers, right?" Remember that? Remember me getting to hold the alligator? So tell us about yourself, about the restaurant, and let's dig into how you made this place so freaking special that my daughter remembers it from
we can do that.
6 years ago.
I grew up in an entrepreneurial family. My dad was in the hotel business along with my mom. Started in Atlantic City, New Jersey, back in the day when Atlantic City was just the place to be.
Yep.
Unfortunately, you know, as life is, things change, and they sold out of the hotel business and moved to a place in Sarasota, Florida. In the wintertime, prior to that, he was still in Florida in the winter because it was too cold in Atlantic City, and absolutely no business whatsoever. Talk about profit, there was none. So he started a commercial fishing business in the Florida Keys, and then eventually sold out of that after one of the big hurricanes rushed through and took everything, and moved to Sarasota and had a small motel there. So we go back and forth between Sarasota and New Jersey for the longest time. I was actually 23 years old when we finally got out of New Jersey. I went to school here in Pensacola at the University of West Florida, got a master's degree in public administration with an emphasis on coastal zone management when it was going to change the world. So I went to work for a local governmental office and enjoyed it, but there was no money in it, so I started moonlighting as a DJ and eventually started doing club work in Pensacola at Phineas Fogg's Balloon Works, which is still there today, part of the Seville Quarter operation. And that led to an opportunity to come over here and open up a nightclub for a fellow that had this crazy idea about doing a really big discotheque in Destin, Florida, Nighttown. And that's kind of where Fudpuckers started, because 3 years after I was involved as a DJ and what have you there, he gave me the opportunity to start a snack bar in the back of the place. And that's what happened. I opened up Fudpuckers and came up with this crazy name, and we talked about that a little while ago, but the idea of having a place that was serving people at a nightclub was great, because they had no place else to go if they wanted to get a bite to eat before they drove home or whatever. And we came up with a t-shirt, and that was really the success story, because margins in the food business are kind of tight. Yeah. So I came up with another way to make money, and it actually far superseded the expectations and certainly the sale of food and beverage.
So I did a video the other night, because of course, when you start following me, you'll see I do a lot of video. And I did a video that talked about what are you doing in the restaurant business from a tourist destination or even local to stand out. And a lot of restaurants just don't. They blend in. You can have the greatest food, the awesome service, a cool environment, but if you don't stand out, you're not memorable.
Sure.
What does that mean? The fact that my daughter Paige, who's now 18, when she was 13, I guess 12, remembered Fudpuckers. I mean, she probably doesn't remember what I told her to do the other day.
Sure.
But she remembers that. What do you think was the biggest thing that you did here to make that impact on people?
Well, in the beginning, it was the fact that we combined three elements. It was the food, it was the beverage, and it was entertainment. And back then people were a whole lot more geared up for late night stuff, and that's changed a little bit today.
Yeah.
So we had this really cool. Well, number one, the building was great. We had a great architect named Reg Moore, who just passed away, who helped us design this. And you notice there's very, very few 90-degree corners in this building. So we built it kind of like as a tree house that had washed up on the beach. So the building in itself had something unique to offer. We had a pond out front, and we had raw oysters and all the other good stuff. Live bands at night. I often used to go out and sing some Beatles songs with the band. It was fun. It was a very family-oriented operation. And then we added a playground. And the playground, because we saw the market shifting from late night more toward a family market, and we thought, these people are waiting here sometimes 2 hours or more for food. They got to have something to do. So we had ice cream on the deck, and we had snacks on the deck, and then we did the playground. And the playground became a huge hit. It's still here, a big part of the operation. But the very biggest thing, since in answer to your question, was we added live alligators. And I mean, that is a crazy, crazy idea. But it has proven to be the thing that has, in a sense, set Fudpuckers apart from just about every other restaurant. Largely because it's unique, number one. And to my amazement, when you think about coming to Florida, and this was statistics. This isn't Chester being the brain guy. We ran into a guy who was a themer for restaurants. He was building plastic type stuff and all kinds of decorations items in a food show down in Orlando. And he said, what do people come to Florida for? The first thing you think about is beach, right?
Beach, yeah.
And then, the sun, sure, maybe fishing. He says, no, not at all. He said, it's animals. Animals. And he said, yeah, what's the number one thing people come to Florida for? I don't know. He says, a mouse. Disney World.
Oh.
Mickey Mouse.
Yep.
Minnie Mouse. All the characters that Disney built. And I'm thinking, well, that's pretty cool. And he says, what's number 2 on their list? No. Alligators. People that come to Florida want to see a live alligator. That's really... So anyway, make a long story short, he made a trip up here, saw that pond in the front of the building, and said, we need to put live alligators in here. And at first we were like, well, wait a minute, isn't that kind of dangerous?
Yeah.
And he said, no, not really. I mean, you build a pond that's safe, and you keep people away from the alligators, you keep the alligators away from people. And oh, by the way, you have to take pictures of letting people holding one. I'm going, wait a minute, this doesn't make any sense.
Like that one?
Yeah, like that one. So he says, well, this is how you do it. You obviously you have to take care of the gators, and that's his responsibility. He's got a license through the state. And he trains our people. And you tape the mouth of the gator that you catch each morning, and it's safe. It's completely safe. The only thing that ever happens that's even remotely unpleasant is if the alligator has to go to the bathroom, and that does happen on occasion, but not very often. So we embraced that idea, and my son, who was actually 14 at the time, was the first gator handler. Yeah, we called him the Gator Guy, and he came up with a script. Working with Gerald Hobby, who's the gentleman that provides the gators for us still to this day. And the shows took off. We would sometimes have 200-300 people out here just to watch a gator show. And it wasn't a traditional, wrestling the alligator type thing. It was simply picking up the alligator, holding it, showing people on a microphone type situation, and explaining all of the fascinating things about alligators. Well, ultimately that was the thing that started really boosting us up in the numbers, in particular daytime business. Because in Destin, like most other places, lunch is not a big thing for people. They go out to eat dinner, but they don't really do the lunch thing. Well, if you would include an attraction in with your business, well, guess what happens? Your day business goes up. So you've maximized your day business, and sometimes we do as much during the day as we do at night. So that's kind of where that came from.
Yeah, and the one thing I've always wondered, and I don't know the answer to this, and maybe I'll find it out one day, is not enough people build attraction restaurants outside of tourist destinations. I mean, like where I'm at in Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky, I mean, we have like the Dave and Buster's and the franchise, which are attraction based, but nothing like this. And you could take this and go to Cincinnati. Now, granted, there's going to be some differences with regards to weather with alligators, and I'm guessing alligators don't probably like snow.
Sure.
Okay, break time. Restaurateurs, it's Matt. And if you're watching MPTV, you're obviously interested in improving your business. What if I told you could finally take the hope and pray out of your marketing plan and spend money and see results? You see, most marketing starts with the same exact tactic. You gain the attention of somebody, but that's where the majority of it stops. What we do with the ROI engine is help you gain amazing attention, which drives gigantic engagement. That engagement leads to customers to tell us who they are, meaning they opt into your email, text, and birthday program, and then we drive them to buy something. We've got a lot of great programs that can help you, and we'd love to have a conversation with you. If you're interested, it's easy. Check out ROIexperts.net. You can schedule an appointment and we'll hop on a call with you. Worst case scenario, you learn how to market your restaurant like you've never heard of before. Back to the action. Thinking outside the box, I think the biggest thing is a lot of people are scared to take that step. A lot of
It's alien
entrepreneurs.
to them. It's just, yeah, and we were a little bit concerned. I think I mentioned that just a minute ago. You know, how dangerous is this? And truthfully, it's very hard to find insurance. Because as soon as you tell an insurer that you have live alligators on your premises, whoa, you know, we can't insure that. Well, we've never had an accident, ever. And most alligator parks don't have an accident. It's because they know what they're doing. But anyway, I think that you're right. Things like this could work in larger cities because you have to have a population base. That's the one thing that makes a tourist destination what it is. You know, we get millions of visitors a year during a relatively compressed time, and they're always looking for something to do. Whereas in a city, you know, if it's a small town, you know, yeah, I saw it, I'm done, I don't need to go back there. But you get this fresh influx of people. So you almost have to have a large enough operation or a large enough of population base to support enough people coming to see whatever that attraction is. We do a lot of things locally as well as regionally as far as promotions. We do field trips. We actually have an alligator museum downstairs that, I don't know, thousands and thousands of young people from all across Northwest Florida, Alabama, Georgia have come to just to get that educational experience. So yeah, we take care of our locals. We actually have programs that are in the school systems where we give them a free meal if they get an A, or if they get an A and a B, they get something else, and it drives people in. And that's, you know, especially at the elementary school level, that's what these alligators are. You know, kids love them.
It's like
absolutely love them.
It's like you're reading my mind. My next question was going to be, what are some things you've done to, you know, because like obviously the Matt Plaps of the world don't come down here in January. We don't come here in November. What you do to keep people in the region or locals, and the school ideas, I would have never thought of that.
Well, the school thing's a big deal. We've been doing that for almost 30 years now, maybe more, 35. So we these cups that we have in front of us, these are given out at the local high schools and middle schools. Okay. So that when people get a Coca-Cola or a Pepsi or whatever at the school, they get it in a Fud cup. Well, guess what? It's branding. It's awareness. But the program, the A and B Honor Roll program that we have, is very, very successful. What else do we do? I mean, goodness gracious, marketing-wise, I don't think there's much that we don't do. We used to have a boat that went up and down the coast with a big Fudpucker sign on it, and that was, you know, for locals as well as tourists, because, you know, you're sitting there on the beach. What are you going to do? You're either watching, you know, other people, or you're maybe fishing, or maybe going swimming. But if you see a big boat going by with a sign on it that says Fudpuckers and a cannon that we would shoot off every now and then to grab attention. We'd have people during spring break would stand up and they'd do the wave, and when you shoot the cannon, they'd fall down on the sand. It was just a hoot. Today, we actually have a contract with a guy that's called Splashboard. They have a huge boat with a color billboard.
Oh yeah, the
that goes
LEDs,
up
yeah,
and
the
down,
screen,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, and we're prominently featured on that. We do all of the social media, which is a relatively new thing, about 5 or 6 years now. Zeb Walker, who's our marketing manager, is in charge of that, along with a consultant that we have named Kaylee Levac. And they do a great job. We try to be as in front of people as we possibly can. Another thing that we do, which I think that every local business should do, and that is we try to support the local community where we can. Most recently with the COVID-19 stuff, we started a donation program where we were collecting money from people in the community that wanted to support first responders, and we wound up serving the entire police community in this area on 2 occasions.
Nice.
And we did several hospitals, and we're still collecting money to this day. So, eventually the COVID thing goes away, but and then it falls back on what we normally do.
Yeah.
Each year we have a really nice day that we set aside for the local cops, and we developed a t-shirt called Cops Rock, and it's basically supporting all of the local police organizations throughout the region. And it goes basically Santa Rosa County, Okaloosa County, and Walton County. And then we have a big event here, and it's a big barbecue, and we have live entertainment and games, and football toss, and a Nerf this, and a hula hoop contest. And you see that the parents and the kids get up and get involved in these kinds of things. And it's just a free day for them to take a break from, basically keeping us safe.
Yeah.
And one other thing that we do that kind of fell in our lap years and years ago, and I think we're now going on our 25th or 26th year with it, is we have a volleyball tournament. Volleyball, when you think about it, isn't the biggest sport in the world, but back when beach volleyball was popular, and it still is to a degree, but back when it was really popular, we started this tournament, and it is now the largest 4-player beach volleyball tournament in the world.
Wow.
And we do that in the spring, and there's usually, we probably have 3,000 people here for that tournament. And then in the fall, it's about 2,000. We missed it this year because of COVID. But, you do everything you can to keep your name out in front of people. And then, of course, the backside of that is when you get them here, you have to take care of them.
Got to deliver.
Right? So the attraction stuff aside, which is nice, but they want to eat, they want to drink, so you provide the best possible product that you can. And we focus on local seafood and burgers, and it's worked out pretty well for us.
So along those lines, 2 things I want to get to. Next, I want to get to the shirt, but before that, I want to talk about providing that service, because you've got a unique place in that a lot of restaurants, people come in, they sit down, they order their appetizer, their drink, their dinner, they leave.
Right.
I come in here, I sit down, my wife and kids are probably getting 100 selfies, we're going to look at the alligators, we're at the arcade. I mean, it's funny because consumers a lot of times, they think the restaurant has delayed the experience. Because I saw a study recently that a fine dining restaurant in New York found that their table turns were reduced by like 28% because of people not being prepared to order. They sit down, they're on their phone. The server asks them, "What do you want?" "Oh, I haven't looked yet." And then their food comes out, they get a picture with it, and it just slowed the process down. Well, you have the ultimate distraction here. Mm-hmm. And so I'm guessing that's probably a struggle to some extent, because some people come in here want to eat a little quicker. And some people don't, but also It's a huge property. And
sure.
I mean, what's the seat? How many people?
A little over 500.
Okay. So how do you balance that with I think I saw a sign on one of the tables that talked about like, not slowness of service, but like expectations.
When people come here, if they're here right at 11 o'clock in the morning during the peak season, they're going to be able to get a table right away. But within about an hour to an hour and a half, we go on a wait. So these people sometimes, even during the daytime, are waiting an hour, hour and a half to get a table. So we have TVs all over the place. We have all kinds of materials. We have menus at the front. And we typically hand the menu to people when they come in. So they can actually make up their mind what they want to eat before they actually sit at the table. Now granted, you don't see that when in the very beginning of the first part of the shift of the day. But I think our food service, when people are more or less familiar with it, and we get a lot of repeat business, so, and sure, our menu changes up a little bit every year, but the core items are always there. It's the fried shrimp and the fish and the chicken sandwich and this and that and the other thing and the nachos, whatever. So they know, in a sense, what they want before they walk in the door. But those that don't, they have the opportunity to see the menu. They get a chance to look at the TV that talks about some of the things, not all of the things that we have to offer. So it makes it a little bit faster. Our table turns are pretty quick here. And we do that. We do that obviously for a reason.
Yeah.
We want to maximize. The more people you can push through your restaurant in a day and make happy, the better. We could push a ton of people through here. But if we didn't provide excellent service and a great food product, then those numbers would start diminishing because people aren't going to come back.
Yeah.
So there is a balance. I think you said that.
What about the shirt? Because that was something that I find fascinating because like we talked about earlier on, I always say profit in the restaurant business and a lot of businesses is elusive because consumers all think everybody's a billionaire, and it's hard to raise drink prices or food prices, but it's funny how people will drop 25, 30, 40 bucks on ancillary items, like a t-shirt.
Yeah. Part of the success of a t-shirt can come from how well you do your business in terms of the food and the drink, but it really goes more to the experience. So, a little like a fine dining restaurant. You typically don't see too many people wearing shirts that promote a fine dining restaurant. It's really the places that bring a smile to your face, that grab you and then give you something that you want to hold on to. And we try to do that at just about every level, whether it's the colors of the building, the funky slogans that we have, the art that's on the walls, the junk that's hanging all over the ceilings, the graffiti that's everywhere. Yep. People, they buy into the Fud Life. And it makes them want to pick up a souvenir, whether they buy it for themselves to show that, we were in Destin, Florida, we had a great time at this really cool place, or whether they buy it for their grandchildren or for their uncle or their aunt or their dad or whatever. And we've had a lot of success with merchandise. It's probably the primary reason that I'm still in business today, because back when I started in this business, I had no knowledge of food other than the fact that I like to eat it. You can tell that, right? So I learned.
Yeah.
And now our food business eclipses our t-shirt business. But for many, many years, our t-shirts were far outdistancing our sales of food and beverage. And it's easy to do. Plus, the profit on merchandise is pretty solid.
Yeah.
You're in the business, most people use 30%, 33%. That's what your food cost or your beverage cost should be. Beverage is a little bit lower, but merchandise, you can boost that, and especially if you have a hot item. When we first started, we had one T-shirt, then we went to 2. Now we have 28.
Wow.
So that goes to niche marketing. What is it that people really want? Is it just the shirt that says Fudpuckers, or
is it the alligator one?
Or if you have one that has an alligator on it, or will you sell one to somebody that really likes bourbon, or maybe there's a rum drinker or a tequila drinker, or maybe there's somebody that doesn't want a design and it's just a slogan, you've been Fudpucked.
Yeah.
Or how much Fud could a Fudpucker puck if a Fudpucker could puck Fud? Our number one selling T-shirt of all time. It's just letters on a T-shirt. Well, that shirt doesn't cost you any money. You can buy that shirt for $4.50, $5 and sell it for $25.
All day long.
So, your margin on that is significantly more than on a food product or even a beverage product.
Yeah.
So, to the T-shirt, like I said, if it wasn't for that shirt, I guarantee you that we wouldn't be having this conversation today. And here's the added benefit of a merchandise product. It's a walking billboard.
Oh, it's advertisement. We've got these still. We have one of these that is faded from the dishwasher. I'm guessing 70 years old, but I still know what it says.
Sure.
It's that subliminal marketing that you see it every couple of weeks. You get out and you drink a drink at your house, and then you go to Destin the next year and you're like, oh, Fudpuckers.
Yep.
I think the key point there too is everybody leaves here with something else. Like my kids left here with the impression of the alligators. Mm-hmm. Like my daughter has told that story so many times. How many people have held a live alligator? Not many. And she got to hold one. I left because I love VW buses. I've never had one. I eventually want to get one.
Yep.
But I think of this place of VW buses, the vibrant colors. I always wear orange, so it sticks out to me.
Sure.
But I like the fact that everybody's going to have a different reason they might want a shirt.
Yep.
Restaurant owners, did you know Matt has free online marketing courses that teach you how to successfully market your restaurant? Email support@mattplapp.com to get access to the courses and a free social media content calendar.
But you left me with one thing. I don't know if you've done this or not. You guys ought to do that saying that way. The Fudpucker could. You ought to do. I could see a great social media video with the ones where it's the cards coming up. You got that?
We have it.
Okay, we got to find it. We got to put it on here.
Our people, a couple of years ago, we decided to just come into the restaurant when we were fairly busy and approach people and see if they could say the Fudpucker slogan. And the one that's yanked and pucked even Fudpuck, that's pretty simple. But try to say that 3 times real fast.
Oh, they have
so that was the first one, right? And you'd get people who'd be sitting there at the table and they'd, oh, I can do that, yada yada, and then of course they'd say something, go, oh, like that, sorry I said that, right? And of course we used it and we'd bleep it out, and that would go out on social media. And then we came up with the one that I talked about, which is how much Fud could a Fudpucker puck if a Fudpucker could puck Fud?
I couldn't say it.
No one can say it.
Nobody.
And if they can, they win a prize, right? So people they crack up. Number one, they're sitting there and you're interrupting their lunch or their dinner, but they don't mind. They want to participate in the program, and of course they screw it up, and then everybody in the dining room starts laughing. So yeah, we've used that in the past.
Okay.
We're going to use it more because it's probably one of the more funny things
I
that
could
you can do when you come to Fudpucker.
Well, because everybody remembers that whole Chuck Wood thing. So.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. Exactly. And that was actually the idea for that came from one of my partners, Tim Edwards, his wife, who was our merchandise manager for the longest time. She came up with that shirt, 20 odd years ago, and like I said, it's the #1 selling shirt of all time, despite all of the incredible art that we have.
Yeah.
That shirt just somehow screams at people, and they buy it, they take it home.
So the way I like to end every episode is asking a question, and I haven't prepped you. I never prep anybody on this, but if you're talking to a fellow restaurateur out there that either one is in a tourist place like Destin, or 2 is not in a tourist place like Northern Kentucky, what's one thing you would tell them that would help them succeed, be memorable, find more profit in the business? What's one thing that you've taken that you've consistently done that's helped you?
Golly, there's so many things, and then I don't know that there's one.
Okay.
So let me mention a couple, or maybe 3. And this goes to the heart of the whole thing. It has to do with business in general. I could not be here with you today if it wasn't for the people that I have in my kitchen, people that I have on the front line at the hostess stand, and the servers.
Okay.
So we do everything we can to make their life the best that it can be, whether it's decent pay, flexible hours of operation, giving them the opportunity to work when they can, trying to work with them through problems that people have in their life. So we do our very best to take care of our staff. So I would probably put that at the top of the list. Another thing is, and this is basic business 101, location. So sure, you can overcome a location, but I've had plenty. I've done many restaurants, and although I thought at the time, and to some extent I still do think that I have a golden thumb, doesn't always work out that way. And largely those failures were because of location. They weren't because we didn't know what we were doing, because we do.
Yep.
So I think that's a big thing.
It's like where I'm staying, down by Destin West Resorts. There was a Fudpuckers right next door.
Right next door.
And it's just, like I said.
I mean, we were doing $3.5 million what we needed to do 4.
Yeah, and I told you before we were shooting that when we stayed there the last time, we came to this location, not the one next to us, because this was the one that resonated with us, and it's near everything.
That's right. And for some reason, I mean, that was very, very typical of what we heard.
Yep.
We did multiple surveys trying to figure out what was going on. We even gave people, coupons where they had to come to the one in Fort Walton Beach. They'd bring the coupons out here, even though it said Fort Walton Beach on it. Jeez. Anyway, location. I think the other thing, and there may be more, but you look at your building, you look at your what can you do with it, right? I think in some respects, if you create an attractive building that grabs people's attention when they go by, you're more likely to see business than if you just have this hole in the wall that's stuck off in a little shopping center that nobody can find. And we've done everything we can do to make this building look fun,
Yep.
right? So when you drive by, you see the gator sign, you see the big thing on the alligator at the front, you see the funky Fudpuckers sign, and then you look at the building itself, and it really does look like a big tree house that got washed up on the shore of Destin. It draws more people in here than you can shake a stick at, because they're driving by and they're doing this head thing.
What is that?
And they turn around and they come back. And they may not even have been looking to come here, but it's such a fun looking place that they have to. And most of the time, I think we please them when they come in the door.
Yep.
So that's another thing. When you look at your building, it's not just the way the building looks, it's what you can do with the building. So something that we're going to do, which I did many years ago and had some success with it, but not enough to maintain it, was to increase our day business, specifically the morning. So you've got 24 hours a day.
Yep.
In many locations, with liquor restrictions, you can only operate for, say, 18. Well, what can you do in that 18 hours a day that will draw enough income in to cover your costs of operations, and then eventually add to the bottom line? So right now we have a very strong day business, largely because of the alligators and all the fun stuff people can do here. At night, it's just the same thing on steroids. So what other opportunities are there? Well, there's evening entertainment, which we did very successfully for a lot of years before things changed. We could move back into that. In fact, we did a little bit this year. We've got live entertainment on the deck. It's more of a waiting list type thing, but it starts at 5 o'clock and runs till about 9 o'clock at night. The revenue that comes in off that is helpful. It hasn't proven out yet that it's actually making me any money, but it provides a great opportunity for people to relax. We have seen higher liquor sales this year as a percentage of our sales, because we're actually offering that as opposed to the quote family entertainment that we did before, unquote. And then there's breakfast. Well, we're a family restaurant. So the logic is, what do families like to do? Well, if you have young children, guess what? You're up, right?
Pancakes, baby.
You're up in the morning and you want to take them out and get them started on their day so that they're tired enough by the afternoon that they can nap, so
Yep.
Mom and Dad can have some fun. So we're going to probably do breakfast. We were planning to do it this year, but then COVID-19 hit, and we decided no. We knew we were going to have labor problems, and we just decided not to do it. But I think that this time next year, maybe even in the spring of next year, you'll see that Fudpuckers will have a breakfast menu. We already have the menu set. I gained 20 damn pounds in the process of putting it together, and it's exciting, and we're looking forward to it. So maximize the amount of business that you can do during the hours that you have the opportunity to do it.
Because you're paying the mortgage regardless.
You're paying the mortgage, you're paying
Yep.
utilities. It doesn't cost you any more, much more anyway, to operate for an extra hour or two a day if you have the opportunity to do it, and you're in a location that can give you that opportunity. So, and then the final thing I would say is it's not just the food and the beverage. It's what else can you sell. We've found that we can sell merchandise.
Yep.
And it's not just Fudpucker merchandise. That gift shop here at Fud's, and I hope you get to see it before you head out. It is really a great shopping venue. Women who drive most purchasing decisions, they pay attention to kids, right? They want to do something for their husband or for their friends. And they do it in a lot of ways through purchasing. They buy a T-shirt, they buy a knick-knack, they buy something to put up on their wall at the house. Maybe they'll buy just a card that says Destin, Florida.
Yep.
Here I was, right? So we've geared a lot of our merchandising toward the female market, and it's been successful. That merchandise facility I'll put it up against anything in the market. So I think merchandise, location, taking care of your employees, making sure that you maximize your revenue during every day part are probably the core elements. That plus a really cool looking building.
Love it. Well, see, It was like a buy one, get 3 free. I asked one, we got 3 great ones. I appreciate your time.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Nice to see
We're going to go tackle an alligator right now. We'll see you on the next episode.